Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first episode of End the Debate. Today's topic is going to be the console wars, or the debate between which brand, or what gaming console specifically, is the best. I've really gotten annoyed with this at the moment because it's, the next gen consoles have been released, so there's gonna be an outcry, there's gonna be debate, there's gonna be all that, because people just, they have to argue about what console is best. And I wanna give my opinion on it, and as the series title says, end the debate. So here we go. So now, as you may know, the main flagship consoles from both Sony and Microsoft, I will not be counting the Nintendo Switch into this, mainly because it's like a year-old system. So it's not really next gen, and Nintendo consoles don't really fit into this that well, or that much. So what I'm gonna be doing is competing the two. I will be using for this the Microsoft Xbox Series X, and then the Sony PlayStation 5. Due to these being the flagship main next-gen consoles. So, sorry about that. I'm a bit sick. First, we're going to be starting with the Xbox Series X. Now, we're going to be looking at its specs here, or specifications, what's in it internally. And then we'll be taking a look at the PlayStation 5s. So, I'm going to put the specs on screen now. Alright, so we have the specs here. And for the GPU, we have a 8-core, 3.8 gigahertz processor, which is pretty good. It's got 8 cores, pretty good gigahertz rate. So, that'll run all your games fine. If you don't really understand, what this stuff means, then, I'd advise researching it. But 8 cores is, that would, work for, a next-gen console. That is, that's pretty good. Now, for the graphics processing unit, or the GPU, we have, a GPU here, which, looking from footage I've seen of the game, of using the console, what games look like on it, I can safely say that it's probably gonna be pretty good. Now, I don't completely understand what this is saying for the GPU, because it is a console GPU, and I understand mainly computer terms, so I'm not 100% understanding of this, but it's probably gonna be it's probably pretty good. And also the PS5 probably has a pretty similar one as well. And then for the die size, which is probably the disk size or something, 360.45 millimeters. For the memory, or the RAM, there is 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM. It's pretty good. 16 gigabytes of RAM will serve you great. If I remember correctly, the Xbox 360 only had 8 gigabytes. I don't know how many the Xbox One did, but 16 gigabytes is reasonable. Memory bandwidth, that's pretty good. And internal storage, 1 terabyte. It also has, I think from what I've Herd has expandable memory, so you can add like a thing to it that'll give it more storage. And it also has an SSD, just like the PlayStation 5, just like the new gen consoles do. So, pretty good, pretty good. Now we are going to move on to the specs of the PlayStation 5 from Sony. Alright, now we will be going over the specs, or specifications, basically, the internal workings of the Sony PlayStation 5, this year's next-gen flagship console from Sony. So, for the GPU, we have an 80M Zen 2 based CPU. It's got 8 cores and 3.5 gigahertz, which, from what we saw on the spec sheet for the Xbox Series X, that's the PlayStation 5 actually outputs at like a base or on like average level less than the Xbox. But it does list here that it's variable frequency, so that can change. The graphics card here actually has a lower gigahertz rate, but yet again, that is a variable frequency, so that can change. For the memory or RAM, 16 gigabytes DDR6, which is the same that is on the Xbox Series X, so that's about the same thing. For the memory bandwidth, it is 448 gigabytes per second, but from what we saw on the spec sheet for the Xbox Series X, that the Xbox Series X actually has can get a higher bandwidth by like about 100 gigabytes or so. From what I saw and understand from the spec sheet there, I may be incorrect, but the PlayStation 5 from Sony also has an SSD, which I would assume would be at a similar rate to the, or same rate to the Xbox Series X. So that has concluded the reading of the spec sheet, just a basic overview of both consoles, and this will conclude the PlayStation 5 overview rating of the spec sheet. Also, both consoles, both of them, to the information that I found, support ray tracing. So anyone who was, who wanted ray tracing and was unsure if it was on their select console, I'm 100% certain that it will, that it is on the Xbox Series X, to my knowledge, and from the research that I've done, it is also on the PlayStation 5. Here is, the thing to prove it. It's been on the screen for a bit now. So, in general, both consoles are relatively similar, and the Xbox Series X does have some slight advantages. So you could say that it is better, to an extent, which could answer your question on which one's better, just from the overview we did. And when you make your purchase, what you should do is not sign directly with one. Maybe you do on an Xbox, but you've, already spent a bunch of money on PlayStation. You've got a bunch of games digitally downloaded, or you just have a bunch of game discs. Can't play those on an Xbox, can you? So, what I would suggest making your purchase by is how much money you put into one of the brands. If you're a loyal member of one of the brands, but you've only bought like 3 games, and you want to go to the other one, you can do that, right? you can buy back those 3 games. Or if those games you've been a free user, you've just been playing games free games, then you know, it's not really that you know, that much weighted on, you know, the stuff you'll lose. But for example, me, I've spent definitely over $100 in game purchases and like Xbox Live and stuff, so I'm gonna stay on Xbox and probably get the Xbox Series X, because I have all those purchases and they're all like digitally downloaded. So when I get the Series X, I can just start playing them again, and I don't want to lose all those purchases that I've made and all my, you know, achievements and stuff on that account. But for someone who doesn't have that much, you know, purchases or time put into their account, it could make sense to switch to the other one if they wanted to. It's really your decision, but in general, they're basically the same console. It just depends on which one you prefer and you know, how much time you've sunk into your account before with the previous generation consoles. So this has been my first episode of my new series and the debate, and the conclusion of this video is they're both practically the same console, and debating about it is worthless, doesn't achieve anything, and useless to do so. So pick whatever one you want, but bye.